Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys this dress, how to make it. So basically the first thing I did is just to draw out my basic pattern on a folded fabric. You see this fabric is folded into two, so the weight I have is basically my bust divided by 4 plus about 1 inch for the front seam allowance, right? Just a basic bodice, and then up to the shoulder I just did shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8. Came down 1 inch of shoulder slope and then connected it here. That's 3 inches of neckline, and then I drew in my armhole. So now the next thing I have to do is just to come here by this shoulder slope, which, like I said, my shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 8, which is the length of this here, right? And then I came down 1 inch of shoulder slope, marked basic neckline of 3 inches here, right? Which normally you would have something that looks like this at this point. You might do 3 by 3 for your neckline, right? But that's not the point here. So what you're going to do is to measure what you have left as your shoulder slope. So if I measure it now, I have about 5 inches left. So I'll find halfway through that 5 inches, which is 2.5, right? That's half of the shoulder. If you want, you can bring it in more. Like you can do you can bring it in more by half an inch more here, right? It depends on you. But I'm just going to stick with dividing it into 2 equal parts. And then what you're going to do is just to rule a line. Just continue that line straight down, right? Just rule a line down. Straight line down, which is what I've done here. So this is our strap. The next thing you're going to do now is just to mark the length you want the strap to be in front. It depends on you. Let's say you want to do 4 inches for the strap in front. That's fine. Then what you're going to do is just to connect from here into the armhole. So you're going to blend this part into your armhole. You can use a curve ruler, anyone that works better for you. Just try to blend it into the armhole from this point all the way. Blend it in here this way, right? And then the one on the center, remember this top here is going to be in form of a wrap top, right? So what I'm going to do, you see the center line here, I'm going to be using this to cut the two sides, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from, remember this is my center seam, and normally when you mark your dart, you're going to move in 4 inches, or that's your nipple to nipple divided by 2, which if I divide it now, starting from this center here, is going to give me 4. Add half an inch to it, right? Mark 4.5 here, and then also 4.5 here. Rule a line across. I'm trying to replicate these darts that we have here is what I'm trying to do. And then I'm going to just mark half an inch on this side, right? And then also half an inch on this other side, right? So that's basically what I'm trying to replicate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the line stops before I get to this dart. So my line is going to stop by this center line here. So I'm not going to include this dart in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect from this point to this point here. So that's to this point here. So I'm going to place it here, and then I'm going to just rule it this way. That's basically what I'm doing here. So rule it down this way, and that is it. So now I have my one side of this here. So all I have to do is just to go ahead and cut this part off to the point here and cut this out this way. So guys, watch what I'm doing. So from here now, so guys, this is it here. So like I said, all I did is just to cut from here to this point. So you're going to put a strap here to make up for this part, you understand? And then the next thing is to also cut out what is left of the waist, right? Just cut off that side too. So this is basically what I'm working with. So with this pattern now, I took it back to my fabric and then I traced it out, right? Like I said, you're going to trace 2 of them, and be careful to make sure that you trace 1 for each side, right? Basically, when you want to trace it, make sure the 2 wrong sides of your fabric are facing each other. That's the perfect way to make sure that you get 1 for each side, right? Because there's a possibility that when you go to trace it, if you don't place it properly, you might end up with just 2 of the same side, you understand? So you might get 2 of them looking like they're supposed to be on this side. So basically, if you want to trace it, face the wrong side facing each other. That way you can get it perfectly. So now this is what mine will look like, just like this. And then the next thing I have to do is just to insert the strap here. One strap on this point here, one strap on this point here. So that's the top part of this dress. So as you can see, I also have my lining. So all I have to do is just to take this here like this, place it on this fabric, take my lining here, place it here, put in my strap in between here. But you're going to, so let's say this is the strap that you've already made, right? Just guys, flow with me. So you're going to take the strap, put it inside here. You're going to take a fabric, cut it, make a strap with it, put it inside here. And then the next thing you're going to do is just to go ahead and sew this part here close. Come to this part, double stitch it, and then sew this armhole close. And then once you flip it inside out, then you have the basic bodice for this. And guys, another thing I would like to say is that sometimes when you finish sewing this, you might get a gaping by the armhole. So what you can do is just to take this armhole side here and just pinch it out and give it a small dart here, right, to help gather it and pull it together. Or just something that looks like this, maybe half an inch on both sides. So you get you have maybe like 3 inches of length down like this, and then you go ahead and mark half an inch here and then half an inch here, right? And then you just connect it, something that looks like this, just to help it so you don't have any gaping by the armhole. You can do 1 inch, you can do 0.75 inch, that's the total that you took away from it. Just a little pinch up that you're going to do just to help it, just to help secure the armhole, and then you don't have any gaping by the side. So basically something that looks like this, right? You see, it will help pull it together. And you see, it's already giving you like this, it's already forming something that looks like your bust, right? And then when you also pick this other dart by the end here, then you have like enough room for the bust, and then it will not be gaping by the armhole or anyway. So now that that is done, guys, the next thing is the back panel. So guys, to mark the back panel, all we have to do here is just going to be a straight line across. That's what we have for the back. So basically, you're going to need the front. You're just going to use, you see what I drew here is just my basic back bodice on a normal day, right? Your zipper allowance, your shoulder slope, and your armhole. So this is my 1 inch of zipper for this center part here. And remember, your dart at the back goes up to your chest line, right? So that's what we have. Basically, what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and rule, take my front panel, right? The same part where my armhole stops, which is the same line here, my armhole line, which is here, right? You're just going to rule a line across. That's the length of your back panel. So I'm just going to take it this way and then just rule a line across. The line of this chest line is my back panel, right? So now that you're going to be calculating your strap, remember you have 4 inches for the front, right? The 4 inches is what we use for the front. And then you can also add into it this other one here. So from this point to where you cut it off, which is 9.5, right? So you can do 4 inches plus that 9.5. Whatever you have, then that's the length of your strap. But remember to add half an inch of tucking it into the fabric and half an inch of tucking it into the front too. So now that we've done that, guys, I hope what I'm saying makes sense, because normally your strap would also come down from the back here like this. You understand? So a strap that will come from the front, right? It's coming from the front this way, and then it will extend and join the one at the back and go towards the back. So now another thing to do to help this relax better is to go up 1 inch by the zipper. So if I go up 1 inch from the end of the cloth, this will help my zip relax, and then I'm going to blend it into the side. So go up 1 inch by the center and blend it into your seam allowance this way. So that's basically all I have to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So guys, this is it here. So you see, I traced out this, cut out this part, and then remove that 1 inch at the bottom part here. You see, it blended into the side. So guys, with this now, I'm just going to go ahead and trace 2 of it. Just the same way you did for the front, go ahead and trace 2 of this also. And trace it. You can also trace it out on a lining if you want to, or if you want, you can just use bias to run the top part of it. So guys, this is it here. I've gone ahead and sewn one this side, and as you can see, I joined the back panel to it, and then I also picked my dart, joined the side, and like I said, I picked it, that's by the armhole, the dart I was telling you guys about. So this is basically what it looks like. So now one side is here and then the other side is here. I've already joined the sides of the back. So now the next thing I have to do is just to take one of these here, and then I'm going to find the center. And I already notched the center. You know that center line that crossed over to the other side of the dart. I already notched that. So I'm going to take it here and place the two centers together. And then I'm going to just make a stitch down here to hold it together. So now it's one top. It's not going to be able to open up again, right? And once I do that, then I can go ahead and start adding my gather to it, right? So I'm just going to make a stitch down here to hold it together. That way it's now one piece. It's just going to open it on top, but it can't be separated anymore, right? You can't separate it like either way. So now to join the bottom gather, like I said, my waist here is 34. You're going to do, it depends on you. For the first layer, around my waist is 34. So for my first layer, I just did 34 times 2. That's how I got the width of the fabric I'm using, right? So for that means my first layer is about 68 inches of width. And then the second layer is basically going to be joined to this, the second tier, that's the second gather, is going to be joined to the bottom of this one. So what I did is this 68, I just multiplied it by 1.5. So this 68 for the second layer, I multiplied it by 1.5. Because I don't have a lot of fabric to do times 2 again of it. It's going to be a lot of gather. And this is a short dress. You don't want it too puffy. So whatever you get is what I'm using as the the width of the next layer. So let's say you multiply it now. I don't know what you will get, but let's say you get about 80. So 80 is going to be the width of my next layer, right? The width. So basically, this is how you're going to calculate the width of the fabric. That's the width you're going to use to gather it. How you're going to calculate the length is basically measure from your shoulder to the length of the dress, right? So let's say you measure your shoulder, and then the first layer, you want the gather to be, so this is the skirt part, right? So from your shoulder to this part is, let's say, 17, and then your shoulder to the knee, let's say you want the dress to your knee, is about let's say 37. So you're going to just subtract this 17 from the 37, so you are going to be left with 20. So that means this bottom layer now is 20. So the shoulder to waist is 17, the bottom to the waist to the knee is 20, giving you the total of 37 as the dress length, right? So this 20 now, you can do 10 for the top of the tier, 10 for the lower part of the tier. So basically what you're going to do is this upper tier, you're just going to add half an inch to join the upper part of it to the bodice, right? Half an inch to join the upper part of it to the bodice, and then another half an inch at the bottom to join it to this lower tier. And then the lower one, you're going to add, so the length, the upper one, you're going to add +1. Half an inch for the top, half an inch for the bottom. The second one, you're going to add +1.5, right? Half an inch for the joining the top part of the tier, and then 1 inch for folding the end of the clothes. And that's basically it. So what I'm going to cut as my length for the first tier is going to be 11. The length for the second tier is going to be 11.5. So that's basically the whole calculation, which I've already cut out. So like I said, the width of my fabric is 34 times 2. If I open it up, you'll see, which is my waist times 2 is what I'm using as the gather for the first layer. And then the gather for the second layer is actually the length of this the width of this second one, which is about 68 times 1.5. That's why this one is quite longer, right? So you see how far it goes. So that's basically it. So I'm going to join this to this and join this to this, right? And then there's going to be a zipper at the back. So guys, this is what it looks like. So basically, if the person is wearing it and they don't want a lot of cleavage open, another thing the person can do is just to like use a safety pin to hold it inside, right? So this is basically what this looks like here. This is the bottom part here, and then this is the back. I don't have any short zip available now, but if I had a zip, I will just put a zip here. So this will be until I get a zip, I'll just use the zip allowance here, just a zip that can go from here to here, and then put in my zip, because definitely you need a zip here. And you see how I joined this. So basically you're going to gather this one, gather the second layer to the body of this clothes, gather this one to this one, right? But the end of this upper one is not gathered, it's left straight, but the one joined to it is gathered. If you don't want to do gather, you can just be pinching the fabric, pleating it as you're going, which is basically what I did. So as I'm sewing, I'm just pinching it out and pleating it as I'm going. So that's basically how you do that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.